poor doggy.
She's going to lay down right there. And down.
Aw.
Stay. You're good. Don't worry. I just want to bring her because, God, I think I'm going to get hot. Oh, fuck.
We can turn the AC on, too.
I'm rolling whenever you're
Yeah,
ready.
no, turn it on. We start the show because I've been trying to start it for the last, we're not in my home base right now. We're at your home base.
Did you start yet, Nat?
Oh, this is going. No,
Okay.
I want all of this in the
Just because
episode.
the timer wasn't going, so I was confused.
Yeah, start the timer so I can really stop it at 40 minutes because I don't want to talk to you longer than that.
That makes sense.
Maybe I'll go 42. And I want to start this by doing this. I want to look you right in the eyes and go zin ban zidu badan zan dadao yin dun doo doo badan zan dadao. You're amazing.
Is that your Steven Tyler?
Yeah, dude.
All right.
I when you finally see there's something and it come on right. Ow. Ooh. That's the Aerosmith I know.
Is the early Aerosmith?
No. The
later Aerosmith.
later.
Okay.
Because I always like Aerosmith when okay, so let me see if I remember exactly when Aerosmith came into my life. Pump was the first
wow.
record. Well, no. Walk This Way.
Yeah,
Walk
it's
This
gotta
Way.
be. I don't know how old you are, but for me it was
43, 44.
Okay. So I'm 10 years older than you.
Yeah.
And for me it was definitely, I knew who they were, but it wasn't until Walk This Way that they were really in my wheelhouse. Because I was a hip hop guy. You know that, right? I was into breakdancing. You didn't know that shit? I was in a breakdancing movie. You don't know that?
What?
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Just go ahead. Yeah, but then we gotta stay within
sure.
Aerosmith, or there's some 49-year-old dude that's living in a basement that's gonna get mad at me that I didn't cover enough.
So real quickly, I grew up in Brooklyn, and I was obsessed with breakdancing. That I found out when I entered high school, because I went to a very small elementary school. But I went to high school, I was like, what the fuck is this? My brother, I have a twin brother, and I, we got obsessed with it. We would go make money in the city as breakdancers, and then we got picked to be in a movie called Crush Groove. That's one of the few breakdancing movies. There's 4 of them.
I know. I've heard of it. Yeah.
And our scene got cut, but I was there that day. Me, my brother, and 2 of our friends.
Got cut?
Yeah. There was we went to go watch Fat Boys perform, and we all bum rushed the stage, but they cut that whole scene down tremendously. But yeah, so I was so into hip hop and rap, and then eventually one of my best friends couldn't stand that I only listened to hip hop and rap, and he made this is back when we had cassettes, like 10 cassettes of rock records that he wanted me to listen to.
Okay.
And Aerosmith was on there, Toys in the Attic, and Led Zeppelin, and all that. And then all of a sudden, because Walk This Way is on there, obviously, and then the Run DMC Aerosmith Walk This Way came out not that long after.
It's so funny that you say that because I've always looked at you as a rock guy.
Yeah.
I mean, being on SDR, you've had, and which I've done, we've had multiple times that I've been on, there have been like musicians, big and small.
Yeah.
And then you do the research. You have your own, you've done probably more research than I did for this episode.
I
I literally
do, yeah.
pulled up the stuff that Adam wrote, who's my producer, and I'm like, okay, and you've got no, this is your podcast. But that's so funny that like, I just assumed that you were rock and roll through and through, right there from the second, whatever was popular in rock and roll when you were in your formidable years, you were always there. That blows my mind.
It started around like I guess 17 or 18. I used to get my haircut at a place on Astor Place, which doesn't exist anymore. Astor Place Haircuts. It was like a really trendy place for young kids to go get haircuts. And this super gay dude that would cut my hair said, "You know what? You'd probably look really good with long hair." And I wasn't getting laid at the time. I had super short hair. I'm like, I'll fucking try anything. And I started growing my hair long at like 17, 18, something like that. And that was the first time I started getting laid. And I started to get really into rock at around 17, 18. But prior to that, it was all hip hop. Yeah.
But you're talking the birth of hip hop too.
Yeah, 84, 88, 82.
This
84.
is what,
yeah.
like Eric B. and Rakim, which is funny because the next record is Eric B. and Rakim paid in full,
that's
and
great.
We need somebody. So maybe you're doing back to back, which also I want to stress to the audience. If you are watching this on Patreon, we are at Ralph's home studio, the Gas Digital Network, here in the Lower East Side, Alphabet City in Manhattan. This This is so long overdue.
Yeah, we've been joking about it on SDR for like 2 years.
Because it was like, all right, I'm going to get you on. You're like, well, what about this record? And I was like, we got this guy. Or how about Soundgarden? We got Kim Thale.
It makes sense, yeah.
Well, you do that too.
Yeah, of course.
With SDR. How do you do all your booking? Are you getting all that?
I have, it's a myriad of whether I have a couple of bookers that will come to me. I have bands that will hit me up. I have friends that are friends of people. Like it's a combination of about 7 different ways to get bookings. It's not easy. It's never ending. And a lot of them come from just fucking DMing people on Instagram.
Yeah, it works. It does work to a point.
It used to work more when you couldn't buy a blue check. When I just had my stupid blue check and I would DM someone, they would usually respond. But now that anybody can have a blue check, it lost its cachet.
Sure. But the thing is, you're, and I don't know how I'm going to put this in, because I'm bad with big words. You are already an entity in the entertainment industry, because from my knowledge of what you've done, you were the hip hop. I guess you were the crush groove guy. Then you started getting into rock when the gay guy told you about Aerosmith, and then you were like a strip club DJ because we had the DJ off,
right.
and then you started working for Sirius XM, right?
No, well, I worked for radio. I started a radio show in 1999, and I built that show up. It was on regular terrestrial radio. And eventually it was privately owned by me, which was rare in syndicated radio. I had only done like maybe 8 shifts or 10 shifts in regular radio working overnights for $6 an hour. And then I pitched this idea and they said, okay, which is amazing. And within 2 years, we got syndicated, eventually got up to about 100 radio stations around the country, all 80s rock. Because that's what I grew up liking at that point.
Take me home tonight.
I would call that 80s pop, but I wouldn't call it 80s.
What are you talking about? It's fucking Eddie Money. That's
pop
not rock.
It is. It's more pop rock.
It's pop rock.
Yeah, I would say like more like Guns N' Roses, AC/DC, Van Halen, Motley Crue, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that became like where 100 stations. We had 500,000 people listening every week. And then I got hired on VH1 as a host and hosting Shiprocked at a bunch of music festivals, Sturgis Rally and the M3 Rock Festival. And I did that for, I don't know, 15 years, 20 years, something like that.
How did you meet Big J? How did you meet him, and then how did he become co-host of the SDR?
So when I started hosting Shiprocked the first 2 years, the third year started and they said, do you know any rock comedians like that would go over well? Right? I didn't know you that.
Pointing at myself for the people that aren't on Patreon.
And what's his name? I'm going to forget his name now. He does he's friends with Jay. He does the Gene Simmons voice.
Craig Gass.
Craig Gass. So I knew Craig. I met Craig because he'd be backstage at every fucking Poison show.
Dude, he goes, you want to see Guns N' Roses? This is when they first got back together. They're playing Dodger Stadium. I was like, you have a ticket? He goes, nah, really. Just pay for the parking and meet me by this little entrance. Yeah. He shows up, hands me a badge, walks me backstage through literally Slash's dressing room, Axl's dressing room, walks me right to the front of the stage and goes, all right, I'll see you in like 2 or 3 hours.
That's
and then
crazy.
I just watched the whole show.
Yeah, he really was great at networking himself into the 80s rock world.
Yeah, it really is.
So then one year I had him co-host an episode of Tour Bus, was the name of the show, Tour Bus Radio. And afterwards we went to go see, he was going to perform or something, comedy, and Jay performed also. And he introduced me to Jay. And I don't remember exactly. It was either Jay had a Cinderella T-shirt on, or because we went with one of the guys from Cinderella, and I think might have been Fred Curry, and he recognized him from the stage. He's like, I think that's Fred Curry from Cinderella, something like that. And I was like, well, this guy would be fun to have on the show. So he did Tour Bus with me, and we had a fun time. So then when Shiprocked does, we don't need rock comedians, I said, I think I know one. And I reached out to him, and he said yes. And then they booked us to host a bunch of shit together. We made each other laugh the whole time. And then he said to me, I'm doing this podcast called Legion's Gangs for a couple of years. Been going pretty well. Would you want to do a podcast together?
Really? Oh,
Because this is before he became
He's Big J.
Super famous. He was relative.
He
was hitching onto my wagon.
Chunky Jay Ogerson, yeah.
And then I said the douchiest thing in the world, which is, podcasting is for people that can't do radio. I'm doing radio right now.
Yeah.
And then over the course of that next year, I started hearing so much about how podcasting was changing the world. And that next year he hosted again with me. He was a comic, on it. I said, you know what? I'd be down to do that if you're still interested. He said, yeah, I'll definitely do it. So we started. He said, what do you want to call it? And I was going to do a morning radio show called Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll. I already had the logo. I had the SDRshow.com. And the idea was going to be, because I was 30 something at the time. I was going to do a show where I went out one night and partied all night, and whoever was still with me at 6 a.m. was going to come do the radio show with me.
Wow.
And that I thought I could do it for about a year, and it would get a lot of press.
Yeah.
And then they offered me such dog shit money. I said no and just stayed with my syndicated show. And then he said, what do you want to call it? And I sent him all. I already had the logo, already had everything. And he goes, love it. Let's do it. And that's how it started.
That's great. I've said this to you, and I mean, you see it because I haven't texted you last night because I didn't have a show until like 11:05 last night. On a Wednesday night, if I'm free between the hours of 9 p.m. and what? 10:30.
Yeah.
I will always throw my name into the hat because I've never not had fun. It's because you, like I said, you and Jay are such perfect, different sides of the spectrum. Fucking Shannon, the hardest working woman in show business, sweetest little angel. And then the guest.
Also, we always try and play some stupid games or try and do something fun and ridiculous.
Dude, when we did the categories episode, that I don't think I've laughed that hard in years. And that was the one that I was like, dude, I don't even care. I just want to be a part of it because it's so much fun. I don't know, maybe it's like, did you ever think that when you were this hip hop guy, that you were going to, one, be doing a show called Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll, or then two, if you were going to be on this episode, I mean, should you be doing Eric B. and Rakim, or should you be doing Aerosmith?
Well, what happened, I did make that 180, right, where I still love hip hop, but I became obsessed with rock, really got into the world of rock and roll. And not only that, but like through the radio show, met everybody, a crazy Aerosmith story is years later, so I'm doing the radio show. It's doing pretty well. Steven Tyler's manager hit me up, right? And I've been friends with him for a while. And he says, Steven is coming out with an autobiography.
Ooh.
And it's
called Zibba Zabba.
It might as well have been. I forgot what it's called.
Called Hibba Zabba Zibba Zabba.
And he says which is such a weird thing.
I'm sorry. I want to do this one more time. Chapter 1. Hibba.
By the way, it wasn't far off from that. It was, so they send me like literally a PDF that no one had spell checked yet. It felt like it was stream of consciousness from Steve. It might as well said Zibba Zabba the whole time, right?
PDF. It was like,
and they paid me maybe it wasn't a lot of money too. What he said was, Steven likes the sound of your voice.
Yeah.
Can you read this book into a microphone just so he can listen back to it to make sure he likes everything? Right?
Oh, wait, so he wanted you to read it so then he could know that if what he wrote was actually legible.
Good. Yeah, exactly. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. It's just cool. I got to read his book before it comes out. It was just it was stream of consciousness, really. And I hated it so much.
Really?
That after it was such it was awfully written. I mean, his solo biography. Have you ever heard that? Even we all know Walk This Way was a great book, but his autobiography, you don't know anything about it. Didn't do anything. It was horrible, right? So, and I'm sorry to say this to him if he ends up listening to this, but I lied.
Loves it. He loves this. He's a huge fan. Him and the midget drummer guy, whoever that guy is.
Not Kramer.
Joey Kramer. No, Kramer's
it's Kramer, Brad, Joey.
You know what's funny? And not to cut you off because I want you to finish that thought. They're fucking playing, I'm pretty sure, Saturday with the Black Crowes at Madison Square
Garden.
Garden.
I didn't even realize that.
I'm gonna be. I'm missing Madonna. I'm missing Aerosmith, and dude, Black Crowes is who I really want to see. I'm missing Tool is doing Friday and Saturday. It's incredible.
I got to see Aerosmith on the Get a Grip tour, which was awesome.
Really?
Yeah, that was a great tour.
God damn, when I finish the thought. So I didn't mean to cut you
off.
So
I hated it so much, and it was like, it is, I don't know if you ever read an audiobook, but it takes a lot of time because you have to read it. You don't want to just read it like verbatim. You have to put some thought into it. So I made up a story that an emergency came up. I'm not going to be able to do it, and I gave them their money back because I just hated reading the book.
Really?
Yeah. It's really weird.
So, I mean, well, obviously, then do you have a relationship with the band Aerosmith?
Not really. It was weird that it came to me. Yeah. I've met Steve once at, I keep saying Steve, but I think he hates Steve. It's Steven.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. I had a buddy that was like, his name was Charles, and if you called him Chuck or Charlie, he'd correct you with Charles.
Coverdale's that way. It's got to be David.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I met him once at an AC/DC show with Slash the Snake Pit opening. He sat like one seat away from me. So I said, "Hey, what's up? Nice to meet you," and that was about it. But
Yeah.
that's my extent of knowing him. I did interview Joe, not Joey, Joe Perry once. I did interview Joe Perry, but I never interviewed Steven Tyler, which is wild.
It's something I don't know if you know this. This is something I feel like you would know because you probably had both of these guys on SDR. Is Joe Perry's mom was a gym teacher for Dana Gould.
Oh no,
Dana Gould.
Dana Gould just came down the wire that he's going to be on the show. I think in 2 weeks.
Talked to him about that. So
That's
you
funny.
just did that because he brought that up when we were doing he did. He's done it twice, I think. He did Elvis Costello, and then he did something recently. But it doesn't make a difference. But I specifically remember that factoid. Question: what does Steven Tyler smell like? I was about to say Stephen Perry.
You know what's funny? I would say this. The person that I remember smelling better than anyone is David Coverdale.
Really?
Smells unbelievable.
Oh, I bet. He's got money.
So much so that I actually asked his wife, what cologne is fucking David Coverdale wearing? And it was some like mixture of like essential oils and stuff.
Yeah,
but we all have our own body chemistry. It didn't smell the same on me. You know?
Oh, you bought it?
I got it, yeah, but it didn't smell right on me. I think she might have lied to me. Who the fuck knows? But it wasn't right. But Stephen, it was a hot, disgusting venue, so I couldn't even tell you. Sorry.
Like
I didn't like that.
Well, she's still upset that you called her dumb about 20 minutes ago. You smart little angel. You smelled like David Coverdale. Who gives a shit? I bet Steven Tyler smells like a mixture of patchouli, smoky, but also some effeminate stuff because he's very asexual.
Yeah, he's also, by the way, I'll tell you, I know a couple other interesting things that.
Please.
Well, it's crazy that this album is 50 years ago this year.
Is it really?
Right?
Jesus
came
Christ.
out in
All right, so hold on.
75.
Hold that thought. So let's do the intro of the album. We are talking today about Aerosmith, Toys in the Attic. It came out in 1975. This is a record, and I want you to finish that thought. This is a record that I actually was texting Bill Burr about because he's a huge Aerosmith fan. This is the era of Aerosmith I have never even remotely listened to other than Sweet Emotion, like Walk This Way. Yeah, I only know the hits off this record.
Right.
I mean, dude, I don't think
Well, what's Sweet? You said Sweet Emotion, Walk This Way. You got to know Big 10-inch, right? That was
I did not.
It's a cover, but
I did not. Yeah. I'm like looking at this record. I mean it. Like I only knew Walk This Way, Sweet Emotion, which we did Sweet Emotion at the goddamn Comedy Jam with Burr on drums and Tull Wilkenfeld on bass. I know one of their other earlier songs called Mama Kin.
Mama Kin, which is a cover.
But I knew it because Guns N' Roses covered that on Lies, Lies, Lies.
You See Me Crying's a great like ballady song. It's the last track on the record.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, look, I don't know. I'm
funny.
telling you, dude. That was what I was saying at the beginning. When you talk about Aerosmith, for me, it starts at Pump.
Oh, that's really...
starts at Pump. Was it Pump or Permanent Vacation?
Well, the big one is Permanent Vacation.
But Pump was before that.
No, it was Permanent Vacation was first.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
and also, by the way, coincidentally, on SDR, we just had Desmond Child on, and Desmond Child wrote "Dude Looks Like a Lady" and "Ragdoll," which is on Permanent Vacation.
Really?
Yeah.
With
Aerosmith, yeah.
Are they doing a lot of covers?
No, he wrote it with them. He wrote it with them.
Well, okay, because I'm looking at a lot of the, you've got, most of these seem like Steven Tyler wrote, I guess he wrote all the lyrics. You have some Joe Perry, some Tom Hamilton. You have Brad Whitford.
Whitford,
yeah. He's, who is he? Is he either...
A bass player,
He's a bass player. Yeah. So yeah, this is like, that's what I'm saying is that because I think it's that difference in the age.
Yeah,
right? That 10
I get
years,
it, you fucking asshole. I'm a lot older than you.
When it comes to Aerosmith, I know the other era. I know the second coming of Aerosmith.
Right. I mean, I was aware of this era, and then as I got, when I started getting into my radio show and stuff like that, of course, I delved into the archives of the bands. This, which is wild about this album, it's the first album that they wrote new. So the first two albums were songs they were doing for years.
Okay.
And then this album came out and they sat down in the studio and wrote new material. So this was like, they were together as a band for years before they started recording the first two records. And then this record was like, all right, we have to sit down and figure out a record.
Born in 1970, they started. It's Steven Tyler on vocals, Joe Perry on guitar, Tom Hamilton on bass, Joey Kramer on drums. So I think we were kind of right when we said that. And then Brad Whitford on guitar.
Oh, I said bass. Sorry, guitar.
Yeah. So this is a band, that has, fuck, dude, 70, 30, 54 years still selling out Madison Square Garden, doing, residencies in Vegas. Christ, man, when did Armageddon come out?
Oh, 91.
That was one of the biggest songs of the year. We'll get to awards and accolades later, but it's like, this is a band that, has literally, I don't know their story. I just know that if you talk about the hardest partying bands in the world, Aerosmith is in the top 3.
But what's funny, because you don't know this because you're too young, but when I'm sure you're aware that the Run DMC Walk This Way brought them back from oblivion. Like, they were already, written off.
They were done.
They were done because the record after this did not sell so well. They broke up for a bit. Joe Perry put out the Joe Perry Project. They split up for a bit. But then when that Walk This Way got so big, got them back, got them clean, they ended up putting out Permanent Vacation. And from Permanent Vacation forward, they've never looked back. They've just been a huge band. But you go back to the mid-'80s, and they were like, who the fuck is Aerosmith?
Yeah, so it's funny that you said that. So Toys in the Attic, we got 3 singles off it. Sweet Emotion, arguably, I can't not listen to Sweet Emotion and not think about Dazed and Confused, about the driving scene at the beginning. Walk This Way, and then You See Me Crying. And then you said the next record didn't have anything after that, but that does have Back in the Saddle.
Right, but it wasn't as big of a record. I think it didn't chart as high, or charted and then quickly faded away. And then after that is when the band started having issues.
Wait, so let's take me towards so this gay hairdresser gets you into Aerosmith. Is that what happened?
Well, no, the gay hairdresser suggests I grow my hair long.
Okay.
And then one of my best friends he was back when you couldn't. He bought a blank sleeve of cassette tapes and recorded all of his favorite albums on there to try and get me into rock and roll. And literally the first rock song I ever liked was Dream On.
Oh, yeah.
And then Kashmir by Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Those are the first 2 rock songs. I'm like, okay, I guess I can get into rock and roll because these are good songs. Dream On, which is funny, is on the first record of Aerosmith, was not really a hit. But when this record came out, Toys in the Attic, and did so well, they re-released Dream On, and then it became a hit.
God, their whole career is just like, they do something, it's shitty, something else happens, this gets big, this gets better. I don't know, really the history of this band.
Well, they were called the Toxic Twins. You don't know.
And listen, how about this? I have all the shit that Adam wrote me. If you want to, take this,
fine,
dude. You take this shit over because I have basically the Wikipedia is an American rock band referred to as the Bad Boys of Boston.
They were known as the Toxic Twins. They were both such drug addicts.
Yes, actually, no, I have heard that. Yeah.
So that was their name, but then they. There's rumors over the time where they said they were always clean, but then people said they weren't clean anymore, and that's why there's always been some strife between the bands. But the story I was going to tell you that's really funny is my uncle who passed away last year, his now widow, in the mid to late 90s, dated Steven Tyler.
Really?
And she has a guitar from him that he gave her, right? And I confirmed this online because she told me the story, and I'm like, I want to make sure this is real, even though she dated him for 6 months or a year or something.
Is it that she says she dated him, but to him he was probably just fucking her?
Maybe. I didn't get into that, but what she told me was after their first date.
I don't know how you would get into that. Yeah. Wait, you really dated him? Or was you just fuck? All right.
He sat her down, and you could look this up. It was online, but a lot of people have confirmed this, and said, I need to tell you something before we go any further. I have a very small penis. And
what? Wait, Steven Tyler said
Steven Tyler said that, and it's online. So I didn't want to say it was just her saying it, but there's a lot of shit online about it, that he has a micro penis, And she said nobody's ever gone down on him better than him. best at oral sex she's ever had.
Really?
And I guess he had to make it up. I said maybe that's where "Dude Looks Like a Lady" came from, but that's not working.
Can you look up Steven Tyler micro penis?
So
I just want to make sure that this is out there in the.
It is out there in the ether. But what will fun? There's one article that's everywhere that Steven Adler says that Steven Tyler has a huge penis, but actually Steven Tyler came out and said that's not true. He's never seen me naked. So why would you correct that? You know what I mean? Like, that makes no sense. If someone's going on bragging about how big your dick is, why on earth you say, no, that's not true? Like, why would you do that?
Oh, that's so crazy. I guess, he makes up for it by eating pussy, right?
Yeah, and there's also there's an old website called, I forget the name of the site, but they would do the Rockstar Penis, and people that had slept with these rock stars would go up and talk, and then if enough people said the same thing, they would put it up as fact.
Can you also look that up?
I think it's metal. I think it's Metal Sludge. They used to do the Rockstar Penis Report or something like that.
Who have they said has, like, I know this is off topic, but who's, like, known?
You would believe this? I have not delved deep into the Rockstar Penis part.
This is something that which is a whole podcast episode in itself. I mean, if you had to pick who in the band has the biggest cock in Aerosmith.
They say that drummers always have big dicks. I've always heard that. That's a standard routine.
Joey?
So probably Joey Kramer.
Joey Kramer.
When we interviewed Def Leppard on SDR, I said I'm going to open up with a question you guys have always heard. Who has the biggest penis in the band? Just as, like, the joke. And they all pointed to the drummer.
Really?
Yeah.
It's always the drummer. Yeah. Oh, it's never the singer. He has a micro penis.
Oh, by the way, so also going with what you were doing before with the scatting, right?
Yeah.
Desmond Child, who was, wrote a lot of hits with them, he would call.
I don't know who Desmond Child is.
He's maybe one of the most famous rock star, sorry, not just rock star, but songwriters of all time. He wrote every Ricky Martin hit. He wrote every Aerosmith, like all the Aerosmith hits. He wrote all the Bon Jovi. He wrote "You Give Love a Bad Name." He wrote like.
Oh wait. Yes, because why was I was on like a wormhole of some sort, and I saw something about a guy writing.
He wrote Cher's hits. He wrote just endless hits in all different genres, and he would call Steven Tyler Yabba Dabba because all he ever does is like scatting, and that was his nickname for him. Because most of the time the lyrics were just him just making up shit, and then they would like, which is one of my favorite Aerosmith songs, "What It Takes." Right, which is off of.
God, I love that. Yeah,
that was just him. Most of it was him just making up words, and they spliced together that song.
Really?
Yeah. Well,
see, what's so funny is that to talk about this record, and to be really hearing this for the first time.
Oh, she has the penis list.
Put it up. Let's see the penis list.
The long and the short of it, world famous penis chart. There it is. You found it. It's Metal Sludge.
So
the best oral sex you will ever have, and those lips come in handy. So I mean,
they don't say how big he is at all, which makes me think that.
Yeah, it's the only one on there that's not on there about the penis size.
Lars Ulrich is 6 inches and has a hooded monk. Oh yeah, wait, this is insane.
I'm surprised you didn't know about this. Yeah,
I've never. Eric Turner from Warrant. Keep going. Scroll down. And is this in order? It has guys from Enough's Enough.
Yeah, it's all 80s rock dudes. It's been around forever.
I mean, they were probably the most, like they were the most promiscuous. Wait, no. Sum 41, Derek Whibley. He's the lead singer.
Says nothing exciting. Below average penis.
Yeah, I bet. Kip Winger. What's Kip Winger working with?
Big dick, it says. Very big dick.
Yeah,
they're very big.
He was a good-looking guy. Shirt off, very confident. It's very sexy. That's very he had like Chris D'Elia big dick energy.
People say I look like Down syndrome Chris D'Elia. By the way.
Yes, I see that 100%. I bet you have a fucking hog, dude. What are you, fucking 6'5"?
Yeah, 6'5" and change.
Ooh, wait, all right, so why is the lead singer of Everclear at number 1?
I think it's number 1 in terms.
Alphabetical.
Is it? It's alphabetical by last name.
Oh.
Tom Araya.
What does Sebastian Bach have?
I'm sure it's good. He's a tall dude.
Yeah. Bach can deliver the goods.
Average, okay.
Average. Above average. Above average. So
okay.
You're talking like 7, 8, 7. How is 6 average? I don't think most guys have a 6-inch dick. I think most have below that. I have a 6-inch dick. Regular app. I have a regular penis. This is not how I intended the episode to go at all. At all. Is this your favorite era of Aerosmith?
No, 80s era, 80s to 90s, like that era is like, once from Permanent Vacation forward, by far.
I mean, yeah, dude. I mean, there was like a chunk of Aerosmith's career that every song kind of sounded the same.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, even Amazing and Crying were almost the same song, Like they're very similar. I think they're on the same album, but it's a very similar song. I mean, but I even liked, they had this string from Permanent Vacation forward, even like, which was a bonus track. I think it was on a Beavis and Butthead soundtrack. Deuces Are Wild. It's a fucking great song. They just would put out great fucking songs. And at the time, it's funny because when I got into rock, they were already the older dudes, just like Rolling Stones were the older dudes. But they're all still around. It's crazy. It's really wild.
I mean, they like probably by the time. How old were they? You think by the time they did? Not Pink. What is the fucking?
Pink was great.
But it's God damn it! What was the record? It was the Get a Grip. Get a Grip.
Well, Get a Grip, I think was, if I had to guess, was 91. Right?
God damn. And so what are they?
He's 75 right now. I know that.
So they're in their 40s.
They're in their 40s.
Good God, man!
Yeah.
To be that popular at that age, Lekka, you okay? You're good, Lekka, right?
I'm gonna
give her a pet. Give Lekka a pet. Even though you think she's dumb.
I'm sorry, dumb Lekka.
Big news we cured. She had a heart problem. We cured it. This is like a
nice
huge fucking thing, man.
What a sweetheart.
Yeah, I put on Aerosmith today and last night, and it's crazy how little music they play from the 70s. And
right.
How all of the music through Amazon is literally Living on the Edge, Pink, Don't Want to Miss a Thing. I mean, I could go on.
I mean, the main ones are always going to be Sweet Emotion, Walk This Way, from the 70s era. Definitely Sweet Emotion, Walk This Way, like Two Stables, and Dream On. Those three are probably the main ones that are going to get played from their 70s catalog.
So this is this isn't their fourth.
I don't think they do. This is their third. I don't think they did Train Kept the Rolling anymore. I don't think they do that in the set anymore. I know that they'll always do Sweet Emotion. They'll always do Walk This Way.
But then everything else
goes 80s forward,
Yeah, I to be honest with you, I mean, let me ask you, like, this is to be able to, like you were talking earlier, is that they bottomed out and then rebounded. Have you ever had a moment in your career where you kind of like bottomed out and then it was like
it's one of the saddest things that ever happened to me in my career, right? So I was on VH1 Classic as a VJ, and I had the radio show, and then someone hits me up to do my own show on a new network, but they couldn't just
VH1.
Yeah, exactly. But they couldn't bring me because I had to quit VH1 to go there, and VH1 was not paying a lot of money. Right, you would go in one day, film for 8 hours straight, and then it looked like you were on the air every day for 2 weeks. In my slot.
Yeah.
And it was not a lot of money. And I was like, and I didn't feel like they gave a shit about me. So I was like, oh, these guys wanted me. It was after I did Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, which was like a big.
Wait, I forget you did that.
Yeah, and so
with the original.
With the original, the most watched episode ever.
No, really?
Yeah, and they brought me back for the reunion in 2020. I was the only guy they brought back for the reunion.
Wait, why was yours the most watched?
Vince Neil from Motley Crue was on with me. It was rated the #1 music moment of whatever year it was that came in by Yahoo when it came out.
How and why?
Because he performed live. Like for reality. I forgot what the category was.
What
but
did he sing?
He sang "Girls, Girls, Girls" because we did a live broadcast on my radio show, and it was this club in Jersey that was half strip club and half rock club. So we were broadcasting live from the rock club. They were filming Queer Eye there, and all the strippers came over, and he sang "Girls, Girls, Girls."
And the gay guys of Queer the Straight Guy were like, "Yeah, I don't really get the song."
Yeah, they changed it to "Boys, Boys, Boys." They sang it that way on the show. It was really funny. But so that's
hanging balls on the walls.
So I got this offer to be on this other network and do this other thing, and we met with production people, and I was all excited, and they said, all right, a limo is coming to pick you up at 6 in the morning. We're taking you to the airport, going out to California, and we're going to start filming segments, right? Okay. I'm standing on the corner, waiting. Limo never shows up. I never hear from the guy again. I had quit VH1.
Oh, fuck.
Right? And then all these people started calling me that I'd met. Like I met with these production companies. I met with all these different like writers and stuff. And they're all like, "Hey man, we're owed money. Like they said you're good for the money." I was like, "I'm good for the money." I said, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And I had searched this guy. Like he came up as
you got bamboozled.
And I got bamboozled. Yeah. And then I lost my job at VH1.
Oh man.
And now and my radio show, especially after 9/11. It was all around the same time. I was like 2002, 2001, 9/11, the end of 9/11. And 2002 was when all this shit started going south. And 2003 was when I did Queer Eye. And we lost a shit ton of radio stations because they all stopped playing rock. I don't know if you're probably too young to remember. I don't know if you couldn't even play Jump by Van Halen because people were jumping off.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it was all this like crazy. You couldn't do anything with, like, it was crazy. And so I thought we were going to be done. Right, and then the Queer Eye thing happened. The VH1 thing was right before that, and then the Queer Eye thing happened, and that turned everything around. Like I was going to end the radio shows and do everything, but when Queer Eye was so popular that we went from like 25, 30 stations to 100 stations in the course of like a month.
All from Queer Eye, the Straight Guy.
It was the most popular reality show at the time. Yeah,
I even think the comeback one
is doing well, yeah,
too, because I remember it was just, I mean, it made that long-haired gay dude Jonathan Van Ness like a theater act, and I mean, I don't think he's funny at all, but I mean,
right.
I don't know,
but I would say that you got to keep in mind this is before streaming, before on demand, so this was like there weren't that many channels like there are now.
Yeah, what
quantifies a hit now is nothing compared to what it did then, or when I was a kid there was fucking 4 channels, so. Yeah. What would make a hit then would be 30 million, 40 million, or whatever it is. Now, if you get 1 million people, you're a rock star.
Yeah.
That's not you. They used to not be that way. So their show would get millions of viewers. So I was I don't want to say A-list celebrity, but anywhere I went when that show came out, people would come up and ask me for an autograph, to take pictures with me. It was everywhere. So that grew the show. Everybody wanted the guy from Queer Eye's radio show. So we went from 25, 30 to 100 stations. And then the next few years was great for the show.
Whatever happened to the guy? The guy that screwed you?
I never heard from him again. No idea. But people were calling me and saying that I owed them money, and I never signed anything. He signed everything. He used my clout. Not that I had clout, but me being on VH1 is like, oh, this VH1 guy is coming. And they knew me from VH1.
Yeah.
But boy, what a fucking shit show that was.
God damn, dude. That's such a bummer too, because that you had like if you just would have stayed with VH1,
yeah, it would have been much better.
I mean, you could get tenure. Next thing you know, you're like
so
hosting
stupid.
rock, dude. You could have hosted like Rock of Love.
Yeah,
or
so
shit like
stupid.
That.
I was so dumb. And that to me, like I think of that moment as the dumbest mistake of my life. I should have said, I'll quit whenever when I see the money, when I see the thing.
Yeah. I mean,
it's so stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty fucking.
It was really stupid.
Can I say it's retarded?
It is. It was really dumb.
Jesus Christ, dude. I mean, I don't even think. Oh man,
it was so stupid.
All my bottoms are like drug related, but I didn't fucking quit anything.
Yeah, I quit VH1. I fucking quit. So stupid.
That was your bottom. That was your.
Definitely my career bottom.
That's your rocks.
This album, by the way, was supposed to be called Rocks originally, and they didn't. They switched it towards the attic. Then the next one was called Rocks.
What facts do you have on that sheet? You got a lot of stuff. I could go read my shit, or we could see.
That
I like you talking more than me.
You know that Walk This Way is based on Young Frankenstein, right? I'm sure you do.
Walk This Way.
Yeah, that's where they got. That's where they got the lyric from.
That is. I did not know that. I might have heard that, but I'm not sure.
Right in my face.
Like a stop. Lay down.
Yeah. So they went to see Young Frankenstein.
God, I love that.
And then they came back and made that the lyric. They were looking for a hook, and that's how they made the lyric.
So here, let's talk about this record. So let me just go over this. This is the third studio album by American rock band Aerosmith, released 75 of April 8th. The band's most commercially successful studio LP in the United States. How is that? Oh, with 9 million copies. It peaked at number 11 on the Billboard Top 200. Their previous record, Get Your Wings, the band had begun working with the record producer Jack Douglas, co-produced the record with Ray Colcord. In the liner notes to this 93 reissue of the greatest hits, it was said by an unnamed member of the group that they nailed the album. According to Douglas, Aerosmith was a different band when we started the third record. They'd been playing Get Your Wings on the Road for a year and had become better players. Different. It showed in the riffs that Joe Perry and Brad bought back from the road with their next album. Toys in the Attic was a much more sophisticated record than the other stuff they'd done. When we started to make Toys in the Attic, our confidence was built up from constantly touring. Our first 2 albums were basically comprised of songs we've been playing for years in the clubs, like you had said earlier. With Toys, we started from scratch. Yeah, everything you had said, this is their breakthrough. This facilitated by Jack Douglas.
Who worked with them a lot. They did like maybe 5 albums with them, with Jack.
Who's your Jack Douglas?
Big J.
Big J, really?
No.
He moved you back into the. He became he's your 6th member.
Yeah.
6th member of the band. This, yeah, I mean, Toys in the Attic, great song.
Yeah, which means you're crazy. You know that, right?
Yeah,
That's
going crazy. Guy losing his
And also,
mind.
if you listen to Toys in the Attic, because at some point they were recording, they put the like amps outside or something, you can hear street traffic in the song. And that was actual street traffic from where they were recording the studio.
This song, I don't know if you know this. This song was named Rolling Stone magazine's one of the songs that shaped rock and roll.
Oh wow!
This is an important song, which is crazy. But is this the closest Aerosmith is going to come to punk? Because it kind of feels
it is punky.
Like punk.
That was then they said initially that Aerosmith was looked at as kind of a punky band, and then they moved more to bluesy rock.
I think they're blues
now. Yeah, but that song specifically.
The rest of the record is this is a blues record.
Yeah,
I mean, for me, it's like besides the opening track, which dude, I listened to this all the way through during a workout, and man, did I just fucking love it. I loved Uncle Salty.
Uncle Salty's a great song.
Great song, man. It's about child abuse, which is why I love it.
That's why I love it. Yeah,
because I love the beating kids. There's some. Is there anything about this one that's worth talking about?
About Uncle Salty?
Yeah,
they don't do it. You know, most of these songs they don't do, which is a little frustrating. You know, when you're a fan of it, it's hard. And I've had this discussion a lot with a lot of bands on SDR and my old radio show. Like, when you have, I don't know how many albums they have, let's say 20 as a guess, they have 15, 20 albums.
they got a bunch.
How the fuck do you pick a playlist? You know, how do you do it without pissing everybody off? You could do what Iron Maiden does, which is great, which is we'll do one tour of nothing but the hits and then one tour of the new record. They do that every other year. So you have to know which one you're going to go see.
You know, I went to go see who the fuck did I go see? This is why I want to bring it up. Depeche Mode.
Mm-hmm.
I love Depeche Mode. And if you break down out of the, let's just say 20 songs, I would say 11 of them are the brand new record. Oh. And then 9 of them are the hits, to the point where, like, yeah, they played Enjoy the Silence. They played, fucking People Are People. I don't even know, actually, to be honest with you, I don't even know if they played People Are People. I know for a fact they didn't play Policy of Truth, which is like.
What about I Feel You? Did that one?
Yes, they did.
Okay.
But play Violator.
Yeah.
Play those 3, the album before Violator and the album after. Those were all the majority, in my opinion, were the songs you were coming out of. I get it. You want to play the new. Who did I also see that did a show, and they were like, "We're gonna play a little bit from the new record, but don't worry, we're playing."
Right.
That's how you don't. Oh man, like I'm looking over Aerosmith's set list right now. Here we go. So opening with Back in the Saddle.
Great.
Walking the Dog, Ragdoll, Living on the Edge. This is just in order. Janie's Got a Gun, No More, Crying, Adam's Apple.
No More, at least is off of Toys.
Yes. Adam's Apple, Seasons of Wither, Moving Out by Billy Joel now.
No.
Love in an Elevator,
Great
Bright Light
song.
Fright. Yeah, dude, Love in an Elevator. I mean, dude, here's the deal. They're playing Walk This Way. They're playing Dream On. They're closing with Toys in the Attic. They're closing before their Sweet Emotion, Rats in the Cellar, I Don't Want to Miss a Thing, Love in an Elevator. What are they Crying? So they're doing 5 songs off Toys in the Attic.
That's pretty good. Yeah. I mean, that is their breakthrough record. So
yeah, but I never would have thought that. Yeah, 2 songs off Get a Grip, Crying, Living on the Edge, which is one of my favorite songs by them. I think Living on the Edge is probably, out of all of the newer songs that they've done, is the closest thing to like this record. Mm-hmm. I mean, because Crying is like it got
so commercially poppy.
Well, just we say Crying,
amazing.
It's amazing. Yeah. This is like fucking pussy rock.
Yeah, they became AOR. They're not AOR. Sorry, adult contemporary rock.
Is it because and I want to get back to the record, do you feel like they switched to this corporate Styx, REO Speedwagon, just this whole like thing because of how the partying and all the you call them the Toxic Twins, right?
Yeah. I think it happened because they were so afraid of maybe failing again because they lost everything. You know, they were not a band. And then there was a while Steven went on tour as Aerosmith with other players that did not work so well. And then they all got back together again.
I didn't know that.
And then it started to take off again with Permanent Vacation. And I just felt like, I can't speak for them, but, you know, it's when you have a hit that can be played on adult contemporary radio, you're just making that much more money. And I think they wanted to be more safe. I don't think they did anything dangerous in the past 25, 30 years.
Nothing dangerous. I'm just looking over, and the reason I
also, it's hard to be dangerous when you're 75.
I mean, he's got too much shit in his hair. I'm looking over Permanent Vacation. So you're saying Permanent Vacation and then Pump?
Yes, for sure.
So this came out.
I want to say 87 is Permanent Vacation.
Yeah, 87, August 25th, 87. Yeah, but you're right. Pump was next. I don't know.
Get a Grip.
A couple of songs I don't know. Desmond Child, I see his name a few times. Dude looks like a lady. Ragdoll.
And then, by the way, you want to hear a great bluesy song? Fucking Hangman's Jury.
I was just looking at that.
Oh my God, that's a great song.
This is you know what I'm glad, and I mean, I'm not gonna say like usually I would say this at the end, but I'm glad that this came up when it did. It reminded me because I love this old rock and roll. I love the 70s and the 80s rock. Let's leave off 80s for a second. I mean, just the 70s, badass, in your face. Why Aerosmith is mentioned in Dazed and Confused, the party. I love that. I love that when I go to LA and I stay at the Andaz, which is the one that Led Zeppelin trashed and just fucking, and the history of that, because that's rock and roll. But then, you know, what the thing about the world loves a redemption story, and so to be able to finally dig into the toxic shit and this stuff, and then I'm gonna start, you know, as I probably the rest of the day into tomorrow while I'm traveling, I'll probably listen to more Permanent Vacation, Pump.
You get a grip after that, right?
Get a grip. Pump, actually, wow, Pump really
Pump has a lot. No, Pump has a lot of good songs. The Other Side's a great song.
Yes, Other Side, Loving an Elevator, fucking.
And then What It Takes is on there, last track on the record.
Cheney's What It Takes. Yeah, What It Takes is.
That's one of the. I think. By the way, it is. I think one of my favorite Aerosmith songs.
I agree.
And they don't do it either. I think it's a hard song for him to hit, so he doesn't do it anymore.
Oh, 100% the band. I mean, this is. I've never seen him live. I would be curious to see how his voice sounds live.
I can't imagine. First of all, they did their. I thought they were. This is it. They're doing their goodbye tour. I thought they were done.
I think this. Yeah, because Burr did one of the promos. This is supposedly the last of their touring. Which, I mean, dude,
he's 75. What the fuck, man?
You're 75. You've made millions.
Millions.
You know, and especially they. It's not like they made money at the beginning, but it's almost better for them. Like you said, that they made all their money at the end when they were sober.
Yeah,
and
it's funny because Buck Cherry, you know them, I'm sure, right?
Ow, she's a crazy bitch.
Yeah,
they're like Aerosmith.
They're very much so. But so their first record had a big hit called "Lit Up."
Oh, I remember "Lit Up,"
and they got very big off that record. You know, then their second album had a song called "Sorry." They got dropped. No, not sorry. I forgot the name of the song, but they got dropped on their second record, right? And then they put out an independent release that had Crazy Bitch on it that sold so well that they got back another deal and they became a headliner again. Now they're not a headliner, but at that point, headline again. But they had made all their fucking mistakes, their drug problems on those first two records. And then they took some time off, put out the third record, became a headliner. And I was with them. I was hosting the Sturgis Rally, which is back when, you know.
Oh, I know all about it. That's they did not think COVID was real.
Yeah, but this is
you're a denier. I didn't know
in the 90s, isn't it?
Okay.
When that no COVID yet.
COVID 8.
Yeah, and the guys from I forget what I think it might have been Hinder, which he just did the SDR not that long ago. He was a nice dude. But he came in the backstage area, and I was hanging out with the singer and the guitarist, and he's got a scarf on, he's drinking a red wine, and he's like all like being rock star lunatic, right? Because Hinder was huge at the time.
What was Hinder's big song?
Get Stoned, I think, was one that made them big. I could be wrong.
remember that.
But they were like immediate. The guy's good looking. He's a talented singer. They were the hot band of the moment, and Buck Cherry was just on the come up again with their third record. And when he walked out, the guitarist says to me, "Yeah, we were there. We did that. We're not doing that anymore. Like we're not being rock star jerk offs anymore, you know." And I think that's what happened. You're young. You become a fucking rock star out of nowhere. They were 22, 23.
Yeah.
And you do every mistake that every other fucking band has done before and after. And then you get a chance of redemption. You're not going to fuck it up again.
What's because I don't you don't party, right? You're
No, I've never.
party.
Even by the way, I was a DJ at Limelight. I was a DJ at Palladium. I was like always in that world and worked since I'm a kid. I never did any drugs.
What have you seen people? Have you been around? I mean, is there anything you would like?
Meaning like,
Yeah, I just have you seen somebody like
Die?
not die, but like just
get really fucked up?
Yeah, just
Not really. You know,
ruin
I
their
just
career through drugs and alcohol. Like, is there anybody? I mean, I don't know if you want to name names.
I'm trying. I mean, not. I've had people that I know that passed away from drugs,
Of course.
but not like someone that was super close to me. It sounds so stupid to say this, but like even I'm with the DJing at Limelight. Let's say I was 20, right? And because we were DJing the chapel area, people would come up and bring us drugs every week. It was rock night, Sunday nights at Palladium. I mean, at a Limelight, it's called Rock and Roll Church. And it was like the room to be in. One night I DJ'd, I looked up and fucking Lenny Kravitz and Madonna were dancing in my room. Like it was that level of like in the moment, 1990, 91. And I just would look at how stupid people looked when they were on drugs, and I just didn't want to do it. I said, I don't want to feel like an idiot. I don't want to do it. So I would take the drug, say thank you, and then give them to someone else. I just never did it or threw it in the garbage. I don't know why.
I would have done them.
The only time I've done them, once a year on SDR, I've tried a drug. I tried 6 different drugs on SDR.
Wait, hold on, wait, what?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
I
Yeah,
didn't know that you did this.
So I made a joke to Jay once that if we ever broke 1 million listeners, I would try a drug.
Okay.
Then we broke 1 million listeners, so I was like, all right, I guess I'll try a drug, right?
What did you try?
So first it was edibles, and there's a video of me online. I passed out, right? And I literally, like, the only reason my head didn't hit the table was because the mic was there.
Oh, wait, no, I do remember that. Yes,
Yeah.
I do remember that.
That was like a viral video for me. They all freaked out. I thought I was going to die. Then I did mushrooms, and I just was drooling the whole time.
On air?
On air,
Okay.
yeah. And then we did Molly. Is back when the show, it's before Gas Digital was here. It was in my house at the time. And it wasn't fucking Molly. It was crystal meth. And I was up for 3 days, right? And it was awful. And then we got a drug testing kit and did actual Molly.
Yeah.
And then for my 50th birthday,
Coke,
because I thought that would be funny. I did it off of a porn star's ass because that's funny.
How was it?
I hated every drug I've done.
Aw.
Yeah.
There's none of them that you were like...
Only one. So then the next one was TJ Miller decided that it'd be funny to do Whippets. So TJ brought in Whippets, and we did Whippets. And that's the only one I kind of like because it lasts 10 seconds, and it's over.
What'd you do when you did Coke?
I did like one line.
I know, but what did you do? Like,
We just went out. It was also, by the way, they all say, I'm trying drugs in the worst possible place. I'm trying to keep a show going, you know. So how are you going to enjoy Molly when you're worried about, what you're talking about? So, but none of them to me, the way you feel the next day is so much not worth
sure
how you might feel when you're on whatever it is.
What was the worst? Which one did you feel the worst?
Oh, crystal meth was awful.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah,
3
that was.
days.
I was like, I called Jay. I'm like, Jay, when am I going to sleep? Like, because we all did it, and it was, apparently that happens a lot where it's mixed in with crystal meth or something,
Yeah.
And it was fucking awful. But I do think what's funny was that I think it was with that or with the actual Molly, where the next day I was like so depressed, and I watched kids playing in the park on Tompkins Square Park. I was like, I don't fucking play anymore. Like, why do I not play? And I went and I bought a PlayStation that day, and I just started playing video games again.
You beat every game they had 3 times. It's there's so many moments. I was lucky, where all the hard partying. I mean, I did drugs as a comedian. I mean, but opiates, but it was never, You'd have no idea. The drinking and the coking and all that shit.
Coking? I never heard it referred to that way.
I just said it like
It's
that.
fun.
I don't know. It sounds weird.
I like it.
The
Let's go coking this weekend.
The drinking and the coking. The drinking and the coking.
Personally, I like to do a lot of weeding. I do a lot of weeding.
A lot of weeding. A lot of mushrooming. But doing no, I'm just kidding. That's all I want to say. But all of that was before my career.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, and I know that, most people don't get a second chance.
Right. Yeah.
You don't. You get one chance, and if you make a fool of yourself, people don't come around. That's why someone like Robert Downey Jr. is such a. It's like people love him.
Yeah, and he went through hell. A lot of people. If you're under 30, you don't know that he had a negative career.
You have no idea. All right, let's talk about a couple more songs and we'll wrap this shit up, dude. You're coming on again. How about that?
By the way, I think "You See Me Crying" is the first time they used an orchestra, and then that became a thing for them where they would do orchestral. There's a great orchestral version of "Dream On" if you've never seen it. It's unbelievable. But that was the first time they used an orchestra.
Yeah, this is
it's the last track on the record.
So Perry actually plays rhythm guitar, swapping with Brad. Good way to end the record. I think it's a nice to open with Toys in the Attic and close with this. But the two songs, I mean, dude, we got to talk about Walk This Way. We got to talk about Always. We got to talk about Sweet Emotion. If there's any kind of like, so Walk This Way is about a promiscuous cheerleader who leads a schoolboy through his first sexual experience. Extremely sexual song. Lekka, what are you doing? Now, Lekka, are you okay?
You're so
Sit.
Cute, Lekka. She likes me.
She loves you.
Because I called you stupid, and now you know that you got to be submissive.
But also you're strong, and you're like probably give her a good squeezies, because that's what I do. Lead singer wrote the lyrics. Steven Tyler, Walk This Way came out all at once.
You know what supposedly happened with that song? And I can't say for sure, but he wrote the lyrics, lost them.
Oh, wow.
And then had to rewrite them from what he kind of remembered and just kind of shot it all out in one shot because he had it already had like a path to go through.
Yeah.
But he lost the lyrics originally.
Backstroke Lover is our hero masturbating. His father catches him. I mean, this is so crazy. I had no idea that this is what the song was about.
Do you know also that the reason why they chose Walk This Way with Run DMC is that beat, the opening beat of Walk This Way, along with a Billy Squier one called Big Beat, were the samples that all the early hip hop artists used to rap over. Yeah, that's where sampling originally started. We're just taking those drums from Walk This Way and from Big Beat by Billy Squier.
All right, but you know, listen, the drums are great. It's the Joe Perry guitar riff.
True.
That's the star of the song. That is inspired by the New Orleans funk band, the Meters. Oh my God, they're like coming up on the podcast.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, Meters are great.
I have the Meters coming up. It's funny. Do you know Wayne Fetterman?
No.
He's been on a bunch of Curb Your Enthusiasms. He's like a recurring carry on that show. He's a very comedic writer.
Mm-hmm.
Teaches a class at USC. He's my fill-in guy for when I can't find somebody, because he just knows everything about music. And we were looking over the list. We were both in Arizona together, and I was like, he's like, what do you got coming up? And I was like, oh, well, I need you. And I'm like, well, I've got Aerosmith, Toys in the Attic. He's like, oh, really? I go, that one's taken. I actually need you for for the Meters. And he's like, oh. He's like, I never get to do the fun ones.
That's funny. I just had someone on SDR, and the Meters was their inspiration. Oh, it was who the fuck was it? Oh, it was Harry Waters, Roger Waters' son. We just had him on, yeah. Who just got fired? Roger Waters fired his son from his band.
Really?
Yeah. And now he's in a Pink Floyd cover band.
That's hilarious, man. I think we kind of nailed this one. It's basically the you said about the Dr. Frankenstein or Young Frankenstein.
Yeah, Young Frankenstein.
So wait, why did Run DMC do this though? How did this happen?
As I said, they took the beat because of that, but Rick Rubin, who was the producer of the Run DMC record, had the idea of combining the two of them. He was the one that wanted, because already Run DMC had done some rocky stuff with their music, like with King of Rock and stuff like that.
Yeah. And
so they brought them in to do this combination that had never been done before.
Yeah,
that launched Beastie Boys. That launched every other. You could even say like Linkin Park, every one of those, anything that's rock rappy Anthrax did it with Public Enemy. It all started with that song, which is pretty wild.
So Rick Rubin grew up listening to them in the suburbs.
Mm-hmm.
He thought it would be a great way to cross over to a white audience. The Run DMC cover launched. This is what launched Aerosmith's comeback.
Yeah.
They were in drug rehab when it came out. It boosted back their profile in Europe, where Run DMC was really huge. The video is the first that Tyler and Perry appear in. It was the first time many young Aerosmith fans saw what they looked like, which is funny because that's what we said. That was 1986.
Yeah, I guess.
So this is
this
is like,
that video was wild when I saw that video for the first time.
I just remember them crashing through.
Yeah, crashing through and singing. Yeah, it was nuts. You know that also, by the way, not to jump around, but on Sweet Emotion, there is a backwards lyric of them saying "fuck you, Frank" to a guy that was working with them, and if you play it backwards, you could hear them saying "fuck you, Frank."
Wait, hold on. Let's talk about Sweet Emotion. This is written about how frustrated he was with the band. They were doing a lot of drugs at the time, and tensions often ran high, especially between Tyler and Joe Perry. I thought they were like the blood brothers. Yeah,
no, I told you Steven toured without Joe for a bit, and Joe did the Joe Perry project.
Yeah, I mean they're the band.
Yeah,
they're the fucking band.
It'd be like Rolling Stones going out without one of those guys. You'd be like, what? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I mean, there's stuff about the bass line in here, the riff. Besides, I think, I guess it is. The bass line is the most iconic bass line, one of them in the history of bass lines. So I would say, what's another iconic one? Queen's another one. Bites the
or
Dust.
Under Pressure, probably.
All right, so that's what I was going to say. What else is on the Mount Rushmore of bass lines?
Under Pressure's got to be up there, right?
Doon 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 doon. Yeah. Or Vanilla Ice.
Vanilla Ice. Remember that? Remember that clip of him saying that it was different.
It was doon 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 doon. And that was doon 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 doon.
Apparently, with Sweet Emotion, they were looking for an open, and Hamilton said, "Oh, I've been working on something." And he just started doing the doon doon doon, and there we go, we got it. And that's it was just like a one take, and they put it in.
It's such we did that at the goddamn Comedy Jam, and just that whole build up, that and we were all just covering our ears, oh man.
By the way, as a radio guy, one of the best talkover intros. It was great to do that with that song. You always looked for songs.
Hold on.
I'm gonna fuck it up.
Can you? Was she still in here?
Yeah.
Can you get Sweet Emotion and play it into our headphones? And we're gonna have have Ralph do a give away tickets.
The whole thing was always they call it hitting the post.
Yeah, dude, hit that post, dude. I'm excited.
Fuck it up so bad.
I need nasal spray.
You're so good, this dog. I love this dog.
She's fucking killing it. That's what I'm saying. It's like the dog. I just need nasal spray while we do this. Peter, my editor, cut this part out while I'm the nasal spray part.
No, but leave the doggy's butt in. Nice butt.
Oh, shit. Did I do something? Do you have it? All right, go ahead. So can we hear in the headphones?
Let's hear it.
All right. Go ahead, dude.
You're listening to WDHA. I am Ralph Sutton, in with you for another hour. As I told you earlier, we are finally giving away those front row Aerosmith tickets. Right now, be the first caller at 1-800-555-1055, and we're giving away a pair of tickets. Front row, you could join me, you could join Joe Perry, you could join Steven Tyler, all of us at the show. We hope to see you there. Fuck, I'm a full 20 seconds off. Yeah.
We're giving away those Hoobastank tickets.
I was only 10 seconds off. It just hit it. I was only 10 seconds off.
You were off, dude. Yeah,
it's 10 seconds off.
Let me try it. Let me try it. Here we go. Let's have another strip club DJ off. Start from the top. So how much time do I need?
It's a different voice timbre for radio and
strip club DJ.
Club DJ.
Well,
it's a lot more relaxed.
So if we were on the show together, you would be Chico and I would be the Skis.
Yeah, right.
We'd be the morning show. I'd be like I'm the guy that's like this, and you're the more the soft timber.
Yeah, for sure. When I first started in radio, they put a picture of a guy with long hair in front of the mic, and they said, "That's your audience. That's who you're talking to." So you had to think about
brilliant.
Because I was coming from strip club, you'd hey, and you can't do that high energy shit. It doesn't work in radio. It sounds weird. So you have, especially for regular radio, not morning radio is different, and hosting's different. They all have slightly different feelings. Let's see if he can hit it.
Wait, get me pull up. I just pulled up a little bit of notes just so I can so I can do this. I want to do this right. All right. All right. Go ahead. Whenever you're ready. All right, here we go. That is. Wait, take it from the top.
He's already out.
Start over.
I was only 10 seconds shy.
Shut up, dude. I got a whole plan in my head. All right, ready and action. That's right. You're listening to DC 101, DC's rock station. I am the Skis. It is drive time. Traffic right now on the 405 is backed up. Make sure you're taking the George Washington Parkway exit. It will be closed at midnight tonight. What do we got coming up this weekend at the RFK Stadium? Hoobastank's going to be performing. So we're giving away tickets. Be that fifth caller. And how much more time do I have?
Yeah, you're off by a good 20 seconds.
Fuck! Dude, this is long.
Yeah, it's a long
It's 85 degrees outside.
There you go. Just hit it. Yeah, it's funny. Is that it was a great one when you knew you had a lot to say.
Fuck, that was. Yeah. I'm like, well, also, I think I pulled a muscle in my arm doing that.
There's a couple of the autographs turn off the radio is another great one for a long intro. Those are like the things you wanted to those show. To me, in radio days, I would always look to see who's hitting the post.
Yeah.
Because back then it was only live. Now you could edit it to be perfect.
Oh, man. That's a lot.
Yeah,
that was
lot.
a chunky.
It's a full like 40 seconds. Yeah.
That is a chunky monkey. Yeah, all right. So, yeah, great songs. Let's see if there's any filler facts. Let's see what we got when it comes to, what do you have?
I have an interesting thing with Big 10-inch, which is a cover, right? And it's a very sexual innuendo song because they're talking about a 10-inch record, not his penis, right? Okay. But they heard it, which you're probably too young to know this show. There was a show called Dr. Demento.
I know Dr. Demento.
So they heard it on Dr. Demento. And like, oh, we got to fucking cover that song and add it to this.
Wow.
And for years, they thought he changed the lyrics because the line is "Sept on my big 10-inch." But people thought he said "suck on my big 10-inch."
Suck on.
And he had to they had to put it in the lyrics that no, he's saying "except on my big 10-inch."
What?
Yeah.
This is the first of two times we'll be talking about Aerosmith on the 500. The next time is in January 2025 when Rocks,
the next one,
comes up at 176. And in the 2020 re-rank, Rocks dropped to 366. That's 190 spots. While this record did not make the cut. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
So I guess, I mean, this is like a fucking
question.
show,
like, what are you basing this off of? Which year? Your 500?
Mine's the 2012 list.
When did you start this?
We started doing this October 31st, 2018.
18. So why didn't you start with the 18 list? Why did you start
There
with
was no 18 list.
Oh,
there
they
was
didn't.
2012. And then when the summer of George Floyd, they dropped a new list. And it was like very woke. It was like a very
that's funny.
But also it was more like, and I've talked about this many times in the podcast. It was more that, this was basically, it was the 2000, 2002, 2008, 2012. Mm-hmm. And it was voted on by like old white guys.
Yes.
And like record execs and then other people. So this newer one was like, there's a lot more black artists, Latino, like everything. I'm not saying I agree.
And that's why you didn't want to be on that list.
I was already fucking 6 years in. I mean, it was actually funny. And it's like, at this point I was like, I put up a poll. Should I switch to the new list or should I continue? And everybody was like, just continue.
How different is the top 10?
Very.
Oh, that's wild.
Very. Do you want to pull them up? I'm going to pull up the 2020 list and then the 2012 list while I read Aerosmith's accolades, which is going to lead to my next. Wait, do you have anything else?
No, I have. Most of them I brought up throughout the show.
You've killed it, dude. Aerosmith is the best-selling American hard rock band of all time, having sold more than 150 million records worldwide, including over 85 million records in the United States. 25 gold, 18 platinum, 12 multi-platinum. They hold the record for most total certifications by an American group.
Wow.
I know. They've achieved 21 top 40 hits on the U.S. Hot 100, 9 number one mainstream rock hits, 4 Grammy Awards, 6 AMAs, and 10 MTV Music Awards. And they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2001. I bet they were first ballot, without a doubt. Yeah. Probably first ballot. And in 2013, Tyler and Perry were inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. And in 2020, the band received the Music Cares Person of the Year award. I don't know why.
That's the one that means the most to them, I'm sure.
They've influenced,
every rock band since?
Yeah. Guns
How
N'
could you
Roses,
not?
Motley
Yeah.
Crue, Skid Row, Black Crowes, Metallica, Stone Temple Pilots, Nirvana. You go on and on and on. I mean, literally, Guns N' Roses and Velvet Revolver called Aerosmith their favorite band. That was by Slash, and Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue. Incredible, massive admiration. Is Aerosmith the greatest American rock and roll band, not artist?
I would say unequivocally yes.
You would say yes.
Not even a doubt. There's nobody that you only one
Grateful
that,
Dead.
Not enough influence in the mainstream. You could argue maybe Kiss, but they're almost like a caricature of themselves.
Yeah.
Where Aerosmith kind of stayed, even though they went more and more commercial over the years, they did kind of stay true to themselves as a band. And for the most part, it's the same four guys.
It really is.
Yeah, which not a lot of bands can say that.
Joey Kramer doesn't play with them now, right?
No, he doesn't. I think, but for the bulk of their career, it was the same guys. 5 guys. I said 4, but 5.
Yeah, I don't know. Who would be.
I would say you could argue Kiss. You could argue, I don't know, who else would even come close?
I'm looking right now.
Any of the other big bands are always not from America.
Metallica,
it's a different genre to me.
Van Halen, Foo Fighters.
Foo Fighters maybe, but it's much later on.
Here, we gotta let move your legs. Let it
Go.
Go.
She has the list, by the way, if you want to see the list.
Hold on. Before we jump into that, I'm just like looking over. Grateful Dead.
You can't put Grateful Dead on that because and I hate to say this to Dead fans or Deadheads, they're niche. They had one radio hit with, what was that called? Shades of Grey. That was the only thing I think they ever had that was an actual radio hit.
Van Halen? What about Eagles?
Eagles could be up there, but I think they didn't have enough staying power. They had a few great records and then they were done.
Yeah.
That documentary is one of the best docs ever, though, if you've never seen it.
I haven't seen it. I need to watch that. Everybody's talked about it.
It's such good. They have the audio of them arguing. They have the soundboard recording of one of the guys saying to the other, hey, no one else could hear this but the crew. After this set, I'm going to take you guys back and beat the fuck out of you. Something like that. They're talking about beating the shit out of each other on stage while they're playing to a sold-out arena.
Oh, I love that.
It's great.
Yeah. When I was with Jelly, we would have the talkback mic, and I would have the pack on when I would go out to do my part, and Jelly would lean over, they'd have the lights off, and he would talk he'd make jokes or whatever. It'd be like, the person in the front, we got to get her up here. Or, I want to sing a song to that kid or whatever. Yeah, I'm
sure you've said it a million times, but how'd you come across Jelly? How'd you two?
Skankfest.
Oh, that's great.
I was at Skankfest, and it was really a great moment because we were getting ready to do the jam. He had just played for 25,000 people
across
in the
the
center.
street. Yeah.
And he sent his guitarist Casey and the girl that worked at Zany's over to see if he could do a song. I said, cool, we'll do a cover. And he goes, he wants to do one of his own. And I go, I don't know his music. And they're like, well, his band could take your band's instruments. And I'm like, that's not happening.
Right.
And they're like, but it's
Jelly
Roll. And I go, I don't give a fuck who he is. This is my show. These people are here for me. And he said this to me because just like I said, he came in, he did a cover with us. It ruled.
What cover did he do?
He did 5. He did Sabotage. He did Dragula. He did Bohemian Rhapsody. He did Nirvana.
That's cool.
He just kind of stayed up there as people were doing their stuff. But afterwards, he was like, dude, you killed this so hard, and I know for a fact that because I was like, no,
right,
this is my show. It made him realize that I know my worth. And so I think it made him look at me differently.
That's
and
cool.
then when he saw me kill, he was like, oh, yeah. And he goes, because if I don't say that, he doesn't invite me on tour. I'm 100% he would invite me
I would
on
agree
tour.
with you. Yeah.
And yeah, man.
I do that same talk a lot when I'm having threesomes. Like, no, this is my show.
This is mine. Yeah.
Natalie knows.
That. All right, pull up the list. Pull up the top 10. We'll do with this, and then we'll jump out of here.
Year?
Dude, can you put them both side to side?
Sure.
God, I need to shave my beard. God damn.
I really love this dog. He's such a good dog.
Like a dog? Who? Like a dog? She's a dog. She's killing it. Bon Jovi, great American rock band? No.
Yeah, but became a caricature also, doing the country and being silly. It's just not. It's the difference with Aerosmith is they're still relevant and charting for many, many years. Not now, But from the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, they had hits.
Here we go. Top 10. So 2020.
I can't see the 20.
I got it here.
The 2012 year.
So scroll up on both of them a little bit so you can get get
there
that, and then go to the other side and pull that up. All right, yeah. So I can read because I can see it.
I can see it now. Yeah. Okay.
So the top 10 of my list is Sgt. Pepper's, Pet Sounds, Revolver, Highway 61 Revisited, Rubber Soul, What's Going On, Exile on Main Street, London Calling, and Blonde on Blonde. So you have 3 Bob Dylan albums. Two Bob Dylan, and you have 4 Beatles.
Yeah.
You have Sgt. Pepper, Revolver, Rubber Soul, and then the White Album.
Yeah,
and then the White Album. So you have 4 of them, right? And in the 2020, What's Going On, number 1, Beach Boys, Pet Sounds, Joni Mitchell, Blue, Stevie Wonder, Abbey Road. There's the first Beatles record.
Right.
Nevermind, Nirvana, Fleetwood Mac, Rumors, Purple Rain, Prince, and then Blood on the Tracks, 9, and then at 10
is Lauryn Hill. You know what's weird is that the Beatles record that is on the 2020 is not on the 2012.
Well, so Sgt. Pepper went from number 1 to number 25 on the 2020 list. Fucking Lauryn Hill, which I love that Lauryn Hill record. Don't get me wrong. Miseducation is one of my favorite records. That was like in the 320s.
Wow.
That's what's crazy about this list, about the 2020 list, is that the record that I started the podcast with, which was Outcast Aquemini, went from 500 to 99.
That's wild.
And Nas Illmatic, if I'm not mistaken, went from like low 3s to like 40. I
didn't realize, by the way, sorry to cut you off, but it's the top 500 of all time in any genre.
Any genre.
I didn't realize that. Sometimes I thought it was all rock.
Now it's all, and that's the way it should be. It should be but I mean, dude, there's like shit in here that you're like, I've got the Sun Records, anthology of greatest hits. I have so much music that has been great to listen to. I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't, because, man, I was so close to quitting. And I've talked about this on the podcast. I was so close to quitting, but realistically, it's like.
Was it because there was a group of shitty albums?
No, it was just, dude, imagine starting it and falling in love with it. Because I was like, man, this is the funnest shit ever. I love music. And then Spotify paid me an absurd amount of money. Absurd. For what I was doing for an early podcast.
Okay.
And I was like, this will never end. If it never ended, I would own a home right now,
right?
Like a nice home.
So wait, you got bought by Spotify?
I bought licensed. They did with Rogan, the same deal Rogan has, just far less.
I would
money.
imagine. Okay.
Far less.
Around the same time?
No, mine was first. It was, dude. There was an article in the Rolling Stone magazine where it talked about how Spotify's starting all these podcasts, and it puts me and Barack Obama in the same sentence.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because you know what's funny? I had heard that your show got bought by Spotify at one point, but when I looked up the show a while ago, it's not a Spotify product. So
not anymore.
At some point that changed.
After 1 year.
Okay.
They fed me a bunch of bullshit about growing it, and they were like, don't worry about the numbers. We're going to grow it. We're going to grow it. We're going to grow it. And then the pandemic hits, and we're doing our job, and it's still, we love it. We're going to grow it. And then that year contract came up.
Wow.
And that was it.
So it was 1 year of great money.
Great money.
Wow.
But also it was great because it was during the pandemic.
Yeah. At least you weren't like me, like a jackass waiting for a limo that never showed up.
No. I was in the limo, but then they opened the door. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
No. All right. Let me ask you these questions because I just want to make sure, because this was something that Adam wrote. So you've met Steven Tyler. Have you met anybody else from Aerosmith?
I interviewed Joe Perry, but over the phone.
Okay. Was he cool?
He was very cool. Yeah. It was I forgot what the name of that album was, but I did interview him over the phone.
And when was your first Aerosmith show?
It was the Get a Grip tour, so I think that's 93.
Anything that sticks out in your head about it?
I forget. I was trying to remember who opened for them because they were friends of mine. I couldn't remember.
That's a good question.
I couldn't remember who it was. Looked it up online. It was hard to find out, but that was the first time I saw them. They were phenomenal. I didn't see them back in the day. I regret a lot of decisions I made with music over the years. I'll never forget when I was in 1986. A friend of ours, me and my friend Alan, the guy that made me those tapes, were invited to go see his new show. This band's supposed to get big. Excuse me. And I said, what do I know? Fucking go see an unknown band. It was Guns N' Roses.
Jesus.
Sorry, and I didn't go,
Oh, God. That's my dad. My dad got invited to go see Lenny Bruce, and he didn't go.
And then I remember we were going to go see Patrice O'Neill, my brother and I. This is before I knew anybody in this world. And I'm like, I'm sure he'll be around again. He died like 6 months later.
Yeah.
So now I try, if something that even sounds remotely interesting, I always try and go.
Sure. You're big on going to shows.
Yeah,
You're
go
like
to see
me. I go. I just
Yeah.
go. Especially live music. And if it's somebody that's like even at night, I don't really have any plans. I'm like, maybe let's go see Billy Joel again for the 20th time. Just because it's like one day I'm never going to be able to see him again.
It's funny. I saw AC/DC on their, what was the name of that record that had Safe in New York City? And was it called Black Ice? I think it was the name of that album.
Yeah.
But it was Madison Square Garden. I had seen AC/DC once or twice before, but it was the best AC/DC show I had ever seen. It was so unbelievable that I walked out saying, I don't think I should see them again. Because it was too good.
It's too good.
And it's never going to be that good again. So why don't I just keep that memory instead of seeing like the last time I saw Guns N' Roses, like, oh man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I saw Guns N' Roses twice, and it was one of the best concerts ever each time. And then I saw them.
I saw them on this last run.
I saw MetLife. And
Yeah.
it was
I think it was
like,
the same show. It was rough.
And it was like, man, I don't want to say rough. It's just his voice is not.
Not there.
You know, it's the same shit we were talking about with Steven Tyler, and I think everybody will agree. When you write these songs in your 20s, in your 30s, in your voice, dude, I'm having vocal cord surgery in like a month and a half.
Yeah.
Because it's like you can't do it anymore.
Right. Unless you're Sting and you're doing in a register that you'll never not be able to do. I was friends with Guns guitarist for years, Bumblefoot, who's a great dude. If you never had him on,
I met Bumblefoot.
A really good dude.
He played with Scott Stapp, and he did my TV show.
Oh, that's cool. He's a good dude. And we were very close at one point years ago with my radio show. And I remember once him calling me. He's like, I don't know what to do, dude. Like, I'm fucking up the details, but it's something like this. Like, we're in Italy. We're supposed to go on, and fucking Axel's still in Spain. Like, it was something along those lines. And he was, like, so fed up with it.
Yeah.
It was like, I can't. They're blaming us. Like, but Axel had, like, severe fear of going on stage for years. Like, it would freak him out, and he would need to, like, get into his zone. It was really wild.
Well, you ever notice that when they do the shows, he has his own little tent.
Yeah.
He'll go
Separate,
off.
yeah.
There'll be a solo, and he'll go and take a second. And I always wonder, it's closed off. You can't see what's going on, but
He just feverishly jerking off.
feverishly. I always thought maybe just oxygen. Maybe just,
I remember the couple of times I saw them with Bumble, I would say, do me a favor, text me when it's like 20 minutes out and I'll come over. Like, I don't want to sit in there for fucking hours waiting for Axel.
yeah.
So that guy to do that a couple of times.
I've never had that experience. Cool
Nowadays, it's much better.
Cool thing. And it was a big deal for me. I didn't start a riot, but we performed on this run at I think it's called the Hollywood Casino. It's in St. Louis. It's the one where he goes, hey, that guy right there, get that guy. And he goes, fuck it, I'll do it. And he jumps off and he punches the dude.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, thanks to your shitty security, I'm out of here. And he throws it down.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we performed there, man. All right, let me get you out of here, dude. This was great.
Thank you for having me.
I would love for you to come back.
Absolutely, sure. And it certainly took long enough.
Yeah, dude, it happens when it's supposed to happen. And dude, you got a good record.
Yeah, I did get a great record.
You didn't get
By the way, I give you credit because what it made me do this last, like when you told me 2 weeks ago maybe that we were doing this, I just started playing the record over and over again. I'm like, God damn it, this is a fucking good record.
And that's what's great about this podcast, man, is that it gets the person that's on a chance to revisit it. And if they do their job, which most people, like I had Dan St. Germain on, and he was so knowledgeable about Bonnie Raitt.
That's hilarious.
Like Nick of Time. And I mean, for me, it just makes my job easier. And I love it because I get to talk to my friends and to talk about music and life, and it's fucking the shit. And if you know anybody that can do, wait, hold on, wait, did you pull that list back up and scroll to
what number is this right now?
This is number 228.
I think you're on. That's the new one.
Not the new one. This one. Go to the other one.
Yeah.
Go up 228. Yeah. What is? There's one that. Oh,
you probably go to page 3. I'm guessing.
Page 3. Page 3. One more.
I'm guessing maybe actually 4.
No, it would be page 3. Yeah, because these are.
There we go.
So go 238. I need somebody for. Wait, stop. I need somebody for. Oh, I know. Do you know anybody who could do Professor Longhair?
What the fuck is that?
Exactly.
Well, wait, show me. Where is that?
The Meters. I got Meters and Professor Longhair. These are ones I'm going to be doing during.
My Bloody Valentine makes it?
Yeah,
That's
I'm doing
weird.
But here's and look at where it's at. That's why the list is weird, because where it's at. It's not the fact that it's on the list. It's that they're saying that My Bloody Valentine is the 221st below
That's weird.
the greatest record of all time.
That's weird.
And if you can scroll up and you could be like, holy shit,
Yeah.
how is A Night at the Opera, which we just did with Craig Ferguson at 231, how the fuck is that below Professor Longhair?
Yeah, I don't even know. I've never even heard of Professor Longhair.
He was funny. We did Bookends by Simon and Garfunkel. And I don't know if I said this to all the listeners. By the way, I fucking love my listeners, man. There's like, we got 30,000 strong, that maybe 25, maybe 20, just depends on the episode. But I can't tell you how many times I'm on the road and guys will come up to me and go, please finish. Like, please finish, dude. I love this podcast.
Like women in my life when we're having sex. Please finish.
Hurry up. Look at that. Look at some big J's rubbing off on you. You're pretty funny.
By the way, with the Simon and Garfunkel really quickly, one of my best friends,
Yeah.
his father was college roommates with Art Garfunkel.
Really?
And at my friend's wedding, Art Garfunkel sang Sound of Silence.
Oh.
I was standing right next to him, and then he also came to the not a bris, but it's a girl, so whatever they call it for a girl, you do something for a girl. Like, it's not really a bris, but you do something. There's some Jewy thing that we do. I forget what it's called.
I'm Jewish. I have no idea.
But so she would.
What do they do? Lega's by the way, Lega's got a huge pussy. She keeps getting UTIs.
You know, I can tell you that cat penis doesn't taste like human penis, but dog vagina tastes a lot like human vagina.
Get off my dog, dude. What was I about to say?
You said something, Simon and Garfunkel. Bookends.
I was going to say there's like, this is one I actually kind of prepared for a little bit because I knew it was coming up. The day I did, this is what's so funny about this podcast is that I did Bookends with Sandra Bernhard.
Cool.
I'm about to go out to lunch, and my producer goes, "Are you coming online?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "We're doing Sandra Bernhard and I are waiting. She only has a half hour."
Oh, my God.
And I never listened to the record, so I had to go on and completely fake my way through the episode.
What are the big tracks on that record?
Mrs. Robinson, maybe Scar. I'd have to look, but it's like I let her.
She
talk.
knew everything.
I asked her about the King of Comedy. I just asked her questions and let her talk, and then I was just like, "It's great."
So it's only a half-hour episode?
No, we got her to do like 45 minutes. Because that's the thing about this podcast. And we were supposed to do an hour. We're an hour 25. We started getting caught up. We started having fun. My favorite one ever, and I've talked about this on here, but it's good to reiterate. Michael Rappaport to do D'Angelo.
That's
Voodoo.
cool.
He goes, this is back when he did it at my house. He goes, he's like, you got an hour. That's it. We sit down, we start talking. And then this is when we would talk about a fact, and then I'd ask you a question about your career.
Mm-hmm.
I still kind of do that if I don't know the person. If it's a friend, I can kind of like be a lot looser, and still do that. Still ask you the question.
And I still got to take you to Fancy Pants Restaurant. We haven't done that yet.
I went to Res Dora. I did not like it.
What?
I did not like it. I had one of the pastas was incredible.
Right.
It was the tagliatelle, and then I had the grandma walking through the forest.
I don't even know what that is.
It did not like it.
The pastas any pasta I've ever had there has been great.
Oh man, I did not like it. And then I had the meat on the ball.
Oh, I've only had the pastas there. That's what they're known for.
The meat, it was. I don't know, the only way to put it, man, was that it was too much. The meat on the ball. If I was splitting it with somebody, it would have been great. The one of the pastas was one of the best pastas I ever had. The other one, not.
Maybe I've been there twice, and both times I just had incredible pasta.
God damn, and that's what I got. Yeah. But then I had dessert, and I had like an olive oil cake. And to be honest with you, it tasted like it's supposed to be cake with a hint of olive oil. It tasted like olive oil with a hint of cake.
That's funny. No.
But I would fucking love to go out to some meals with you. What was I about to say?
You're doing the Sandra Bernhard, the Michael Rappaport.
No, Michael Rappaport. So he comes on, and we're supposed to do an hour, and then I ask him the first question, and it's like well thought out because my writer Morty, who I work with when it's big guests, we really go through like we want to like if it's like with David Cross, I really wanted to dude in the middle of the podcast, David Cross stopped and went, "This is really cool, man. I didn't know anything about this, and the way that you're using the record as like a blueprint." And Michael Rappaport, just same thing. I asked the question. He goes, "Oh," and he takes his hat off, unzips his jacket, and I go, "Oh, I got him." We talked for 2.5 hours.
That's cool.
And it just depends. And look, I'm for right now, everybody. I'm going to keep going as long as the money doesn't change. I'm fine with that. But then you get to talk to people like Ralph. All right, so let's get our the final questions out. We ask everybody these questions. This was great, dude.
Thank you.
I really mean it.
I appreciate it.
Favorite song on the record?
I mean, I have to go with Walk This Way because...
That's your favorite?
I'll tell you why. And I'm not a superlatives person. I don't have a favorite anything, right?
Yeah.
But the reason why I would pick Walk This Way is because it's so synonymous with hip hop that even though it's not that version, but it's the song I think about a lot that like gripped me when I was younger. And that for how it affected my life is why I would say that song.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I got to go Sweet Emotion. Sweet Emotion's the best song. But the one that I discovered that I didn't know, Uncle Salty.
Great song.
What's your least favorite song on the record?
I would say Uncle Salty. No, I'm kidding. A big 10-inch, it's hacky.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's hacky.
Big 10-inch record. Yeah. Fred Wassermantel, who wrote it. Luckily, it's only 2 minutes and 16 seconds. Can you fuck to this record?
Well, Sweet Emotion for sure. You think I need more than that time? We're good.
But I'm talking from the top. Can you put on side? Can you put on side one, track one, Toys in the Attic? Go from that to Uncle Salty to Adam's Apple, to Walk This Way to Big 10-inch. Then side two.
How cool is it if you time it out right that you pull down your pants as Big 10-inch starts?
Or you do all, so you'd be like 3, 4, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 minutes of foreplay, right? 16, really 17 with the second, 17, 18. And then you pull your dick out right as the fucking, sweet love.
It's funny, when I did a bonfire once with Jay, they made fun of me, which is Jay's favorite thing in the world to do, because I have what I call it my fuck songs playlist, right? And it's a playlist that I put on when I'm bringing a girl home for the first time. But it can't start out with fuck songs. Because then you look like because they come in Enigma's playing, you're like, well, what the fuck is this guy trying? You got to play like just cool background music and then slowly transition to fuck songs. So for that reason, why I do think this works, because you're starting out with Toys in the Attic. He does, this guy's just here to have a good time. Yeah. And then you can go into Sweet Emotion and it works out.
No, you're not wrong. You are not wrong, but you got to keep her there for fucking 22 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't keep her there for 22 minutes, you got bigger problems.
And what would be your elevator pitch to get someone to listen to this record?
Just listen to the fucking bass line of Sweet Emotion and you will be hooked.
Yeah. I say this. This is what I say this to, we kind of mentioned this at the beginning. I think this is like the roots of Aerosmith that a lot of people my age grew up with. This is, you don't get to that until you start with this.
Yeah.
You got to listen to the older shit to realize why Aerosmith might be or is in the discussion of being the greatest American rock band. This was great. Promote away, please.
Follow me everywhere at I am Ralph Sutton, which is easy to find me. I have 2 podcasts. One is called the SDR Show, Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll Show, which I think, Josh, I could be wrong, but I would say you did it at least 8 to 10 times already, right?
And more than that.
Maybe more than that.
I've done 8 to 10 times in the last year.
Yeah, the one that was the weird one, we were all so excited, and I'm not shitting on this episode, but it was weird, was Stuart Copeland from The Police.
The best one was Sebastian Bach.
That was great. That moment brought the numbers of SDR up by like 15-20%.
Oh my god!
Because it was just talked about on every rock news site.
Yeah,
and then to get Halford on the week after.
Yes,
it was a great 1-2 punch.
If you haven't, I'm not going to ruin it for you, but it's Big J Okerson, very funny, makes a joke about Rob Halford being gay to Sebastian Bach, and Sebastian did not enjoy it. And then you get a part 2 the next week when we had Rob Halford on.
Yeah.
Listen to the SDR Good Sugar.
And then also with Good Sugar is a health podcast. I've lost almost 100 pounds.
You look great.
And I didn't start, but I helped build a company here in New York called Juice Press, which had at one point 100 locations. And then that founder sold it. Him and I started a podcast together, and we opened up a health vegan store on 3rd Avenue and 69th Street called Good Sugar. And every week we bring on health people, but also I've been a guinea pig. I've tried everything to see how, it's purely anecdotal, but I'll go try the next big health trend and see how I feel about it. And then you go to 3rd Avenue and 69th Street, it's all vegan. There's no single-use plastics, and it's really good vegan food. If you're in the city, it's a giant yellow sign.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to go up there.
It's great, and the Good Sugar podcast comes out every Monday.
Do it. Listen to it. Support. SDR is the best. Dude, this was so much fun.
Thank you so much for having me, man.
Oh, yay! We did it. We fucking did it, dude.